ओम ज्ञानतिवृन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter number 8, verse number 14. Reading the story of Dhruv Maharaj. And before that we read about the family of Adharma. How Adharma gives rise to suffering which ends in hell through falsity, hypocrisy, anger, all these cheating propensities. So after explaining the dynasty of various sons of Brahma, then he comes to explain the family of Swambhu Manu. And we read that Manu had two sons, Priyavrata and Uttanpada. And Uttanpada had two wives. He was the ruler, the king of earth. And his two wives' names were Suruchi and Suniti. And each one had one son, Uttama and Dhruva. But king was very much in love with Suruchi and did not care much for Suniti. Therefore one day when Suruchi's son was sitting in the lap of King Uttanpada, and Dhruva, who was also there, he also wanted to sit in his father's lap. But the king did not appreciate that because his wife Suruchi was present. And when Suruchi saw this attempt of Dhruva, she told him, "Don't do this because he is not qualified, although a prince but not born from her." And therefore she said that you are a young boy, ignorant. You do not know that unless you take birth from my womb, you cannot sit in the lap of your father. And if you have this desire to sit in the lap of your father, you go and worship Krishna, get blessed by him, then you die, take birth from him, and then you can sit. So this is what we read. So this is the story of human mind. Uttanpad is the common human being, and there are two inclinations or two paths we can follow. One is the path of enjoyment, where the senses become attracted. That is the meaning of ruchi, suruchi, taste. Ruchi means taste. So, indriyasya artha, raga desa vyavasthita. Every sense likes its sense object. Every sense has got its own taste. The nose, the tongue, the ears, the eyes. So they are naturally inclined to its object, which is pleasing to a particular sense. That is called suruchi. And suniti means sagacious judgment. To make a judgment whether I should really eat this piece of cake or I should avoid it. Whether I should go for the chocolate or I should just have a piece of apple. So to make this judgment, that needs niti. Niti means which leads you to the proper destination. That is the meaning of suniti. So suniti gives birth to dhruva, means permanent benefit. Dhruva means fixed, like pole star is called dhruva in Sanskrit. So pole star is the fixed star. It's always in the north. If you want to figure out where is the north, then you look at the pole star. So when we follow suniti, then we get the proper permanent benefit. When we follow suruchi, then we get a son which is called uttam, means nice. Uttam means nice, best actually. So at that time it looks very nice. When you eat the cake, it looks very good. But later on, when you cannot sleep at night, then it's a problem. So we will see that later on, Uttam and Suruchi, they both got killed. And Dhruva is the one who is still ruling in the pole star. And his mother also went there. So they went to Vaikuntha, mother and son. So two different destinations by following two different paths. So these are the two paths which are described in Bhagavad Gita. Sukla Krishna Gati Hiyate. One is the path of darkness, one is the path of light. So one is the path of karma and one is the path of bhakti. So these are the two processes which are described in Shastra, and here they are being told in a nice story form. So you can remember the story, and then if you have time you can also understand the meaning behind it. So Tanpad means Jiva, living being. Because when the child is inside the womb, his feet are up and down. It is called Uttanpad. Uttan means up, Pad means feet. So this is the story of Jiva, living being, takes birth, and these two things are available. So although Tanpad is a religious fellow, but naturally people in this world, they are inclined for, it is called apataramaniya, which is immediately gratifying. You always go for things which are immediately pleasing, immediately gratifying. You don't want to postpone enjoyment. That is difficult. You want that I get satisfaction immediately. So that of course leads to problem. As Krishna says that happiness which is pleasing in the beginning and problematic in the end. Right? So that he calls as Rajagun. Rajasic Sukh.
It's the same as these two paths, the same as pravritti and nivritti?
Yes. So one is the path of samsara, remaining in the material world, and one is to get out of it. So Lord has created our senses in such a way that they can be used for both Atmartha, Bhavartham cha, Atmartham cha, Bhavartham cha, Atmani Kalpanaya. In these senses, they have been created in this manner, then they can be utilized for these two goals. Mani Indriya Atma Prana, Asukajat Pavilion verse which explains that Lord created this mind, body, senses, etc. And the purpose of this is that you can utilize them for enjoying here or Atmanaya Kalpanaya, or to get out of the material world. Both options are available to a living being. So this is what is being shown in this story, that how one leads to one particular destination, the other leads to another destination. So now we'll read the story. Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Matuhu sapatnya sa durukti viddha swasan rushadandah hato yathahi Utva mishantam pitram sannavacham jagav matuhu prarudan sakasham. When he was spoken to with such harsh words, Dhruva, by his stepmother, then he felt just like you hit a snake with a stick. If you have ever done that, and snake becomes angry. Snake is angry by nature. Snake is a very angry fellow. It's personification of anger. Tamasic, very tamasic. So he felt like this, as if he has been hit by a stick, and therefore he was full of anger, and he was hissing like a snake, taking deep breath. But he was helpless because he was just a little boy. What could he do? So when a child cannot do anything, then what he does, he cries and goes to the mother. So that's what he did. Hitva mishantam pitram sannavacham. He left his father, who was sitting there speechless, did not speak one word. Could have said that don't worry what she's saying, you come and sit in my lap, but did not tell the wife, why are you speaking like this? He's also my son. Nothing. He was just speechless. So, and he was looking, misantam. It was not that the father was sleeping. He was awake and looking, but did not say anything. So this is how when the mind is attached to the senses, then mind does not say anything, it just goes. So yes, get the cake. So then the king, he kept looking, did not say anything. Then the boy went to the mother, and he was obviously crying. Suruchair vachanam srutva Dhruva kim kritvan iti apekshayamaha maturi. So after hearing the words of Suruchi, the stepmother, what did Dhruva do? In reply to this particular verse is spoken. Matuhu sapatneha sadurukteha atyanta asambadha vakyani So these were very incoherent words spoken by Suruchi. Didn't make any sense. Worship God, then to die, then take birth. What is this man saying? But they were piercing his heart. Hriday Vriddho Dhruva. They were like arrows which went into his heart. Ateva Rusha. Therefore he was very angry. Swasan Urdhu Swasan Vimunchan. Therefore he was releasing breath, long breath. Prarudan Mishantam, and while crying, Mishantam Sruchi Charitam Pashyantam Api Tat Sankochat Sannavacham Tushnim Sthitam Pitram Hitva. Then he looked at his father and he saw that the father is looking and not saying anything. So he could understand that this father is useless. He's not doing anything. He had no hopes from the father. So when he became hopeless from the father, then he went to the mother. So he gave the father, Matu Sunite Sakasam Samipam Jalami. Krodhena Swasa Vimochane Drishtanta Dandena Hato Ahivyata. So the example is given here as how he appeared when he was angry, that he was just like a snake being hit by a stick. Then what happened is described further. Tam nisvasantam spuritaradhrostham sumaite rutsanga balam nisamnitat mukhan nitantam savivyathe yaduditam sapatnya. So when she saw this boy who was very angry and her lips were quivering out of anger, and a person becomes very angry and the whole body starts shaking. So she saw that the Spurita Adharavustam, that he was not even able to speak, he was so angry and breathing very heavily. So she picked up the boy and took him into her lap. And then she heard from the other people, other members who were also present there, who saw the whole thing. And when she heard that what her co-wife has spoken, then she felt very great pain. She was very pained to hear, very much disturbed by her words, that how she could speak like this to my son. So Utsange Anke Uduya Aropya Sapatnya Gaditam Tam Nitantam Paurmukhadanta Pura Janmukhat. Because the boy was not able to speak, he was just crying. Sometimes when you have seen children, they cry so much that they cannot say anything, and even if they are saying, then the words don't come very clearly from their mouth. So she asked the other people, and they explained what had happened. And this gave her great pain. Sotsrijya dharyam vilalapa sokad davagnina davalate bala vakyam sapatnya smarati sarojashriya drishabhasta kalamuvaha. So when she heard what Suruchi had said, she left. She was not able to contain herself and she cried very loudly herself. And she was so much in grief that she was just like a creeper burning in the forest fire. So Davagnina Davalatai Bala means she felt also so much anger and grief that she was also burning inside. She was very sad. And Vakyam Sapatnya Smriti, remembering the statements of Suruchi, what she had said to her son, and there were just tears in her eyes and her vision was curtailed because of the tears. whose eyes were very beautiful, like a lotus flower. So there was not much she could do. She could just cry. Dirgham swasanti vrijnasya param apashyati balakamahi bala mamangalam tata pare sumanstha bhumte jano yat paradukkhadastat. So she was also now breathing heavily, and she could not see any solution for this problematic situation. But what could she do? The husband is favoring the other wife, and she had no power. So then she spoke to her son as follows. She said that don't think bad of others, my dear son. Mamangalam tata paresu mastha. Says don't think that there is anything wrong with her, and therefore don't be jealous or malicious towards your other mother. Why he says bhukto jane yad paradukha nasti. He says that everyone suffers the misery which we have given to someone else. So in other words, he was saying that it is our karma like this that we have to suffer. In the past life we must have done something that now both of us have to go through this troubling situation. And so do not feel bad like this. So this is one way of consoling yourself, especially when you have no solution. When you have a solution, you do something, but when there is nothing you can do, instead of just crying and wailing, then satisfy your mind that I have done something wrong and therefore I am in such a situation that there is nothing I can do. And think that by going through this process, I am getting rid of my bad karma. It's like when you get some happy situation, then you are getting rid of your piety. The good deeds are fructifying and happiness, and when unwanted or unfavorable situation is coming, then think that my bad deeds are getting fructified and they will be over, then I will be happy. So no need of creating the cycle. Otherwise what happens that we continue in the cycle, that I cause you disturbance, and then when I cause you disturbance, then I will get the disturbance myself as a result. And then when I get disturbance, then I retaliate. And by retaliation, then I am creating again that I will get disturbance again. But if I don't retaliate, then I can bring it to an end. So now because I don't retaliate, then this miserable condition which is coming to me is not going to create another situation that I have to again face a similar miserable condition. So that is the advice he is giving. This is called sunita. It's the good judgment. That when somebody creates a trouble, some situation, instead of retaliating, you tolerate it and think that okay, I am getting my karma, and then you don't create further cycle. You bring an end to that. Amangalam dosham vimatre madehi. So therefore Sri Vishnu Chakravarti comments that don't find fault with your co-mother. Prachin swakrita duskrita phalameva pam anubhav. So you just understand that you are only getting the result of past good and bad deeds. Yad yatah parebhyo dukham dadati yasvadattam eva bhunte. So one who gives misery or pain to others, then he has to get that suffering himself or herself. So no need of blaming anybody for anything. So this is the good character of Suniti, and she is therefore being very forbearing and tolerant and instructing Dhruva. Otherwise she could have also become angry and at least use some abusive words. Even if she cannot do anything, at least she can abuse. When a person is helpless and cannot take revenge, then at least you use your tongue. So she did not do that. Otherwise she will maintain this feeling inside and she will look for an opportunity when to take the revenge. So usually that's what people do when they cannot retaliate or take revenge. They maintain the vengeance. And when the opportunity comes, then they strike. So she is not like that. So she further instructs him. Satyam suruchya vitam bhavan me yadurbhagaya udare grihitah stannena vriddhasya vilajjatayam bharyeti bhagodhum daspatirman. She said that indeed it is true what Suruchi has said. I am certainly unfortunate, and you have taken birth from an unfortunate woman. And you have grown up by drinking milk from my breast. I am so unfortunate that my husband, who is the king of the earth, he even feels ashamed that I am his wife. So she is considering herself as unfortunate because of her past karma, and therefore say that don't find fault with her. What she has said is right. She is only just revealing my situation. What she has said that if you want to sit in the lap of the king, you have to take birth from her womb is right. There is nothing wrong with it. I am indeed a woman who is so unfortunate that if you are born from me, then you are not qualified to sit in the lap of your father. So she accepts this. Grihita dhrita durbhagatvam eva. So he says that you have taken birth from me. This is unfortunate. And what is this ill fortune? Says ma midaspatir bhupati bharya iti vodhum iyam me bharya bhavati iti buddhya yomad rakshana palana bharastam vodhum lajjati. That this king, he is even feeling shame to take my responsibility of protecting me and caring for me as his wife. Although I am married to him, and it is his duty. That's why the word bharya is used. Bharya in Sanskrit comes from the root bhri, which means to maintain, to protect. So it is his responsibility, it is the responsibility of the husband in the culture to maintain wife. That's why marriage is called vivaha. So vivaha means to carry. So you have to carry the responsibility of the wife. That is the significance of vivaha. So he says vodhum. It comes from the same root. Vahadhatu. Tunam pratyam. He is feeling ashamed to take this responsibility.
It's not true what she said, because the boy was wanted to sit on the lap because he also was a priest. He had the right to sit. Same.
Yeah, but she is saying that because of her bad karma, the other wife is not allowed. Therefore, father is biased. nothing wrong with the boy except the past karma. So of course you have to see from different angles. If you see from material angle, then it is a very unfortunate situation. That the boy is not being allowed to sit in the lap of the father. It's very unfortunate for the children. There are situations where parents are divorced and then the children feels disturbed, the son or the daughter, on these divorced parents because they may not get the love of their parents. So that's a very unfortunate situation for the child. So here they are not divorced, but situation is something like that. The son also wants some affection from the father. Usually mother gets the custody of the child and the child doesn't get the affection of the father. Seeing once a month. So that is not good for the psyche of the boy or the daughter. So from that point of view it is good, but when we see the ultimate result from devotional point of view, what happened is actually good. Because of this, Dhruva goes to the forest, leaves his house, palace, and then he devotes himself to Lord and became a great devotee of Lord. So he may have some material discomfort or undesirable situation, but spiritually it was beneficial for him. So sometimes material discomfort may be spiritually beneficial, and sometimes God arranges it like that. And Krishna himself says this, that yasyaham anugranami harisveta dhanam sami. That sometimes when I give my grace to somebody, I take away his wealth. Taking away wealth means creating uncomfortable material situation. So then in such a situation, what the person does, he becomes more devoted to God. Otherwise, one remains engaged in material situation. So if your girlfriend leaves you, then you may think of coming to Vrindavan. Otherwise, you enjoy in America. The girlfriend, why do you want to come to Vrindavan? So you can think every situation from different angles. You can become depressed, or you can become elated that God is actually being so gracious to me that I have got this rare lifetime opportunity to learn devotion and become spiritually elevated. So that is what is happening here. And always there is some history behind every incident. Things don't happen haphazardly or accidentally. Accident means that we do not know, but there is actually a cause behind it. So in case of Dhruva, in the past life he was actually son of a sage. He was a Muni Kumar. And he was friend of a prince. So it's like in the olden days, the prince, they also used to go and study from the sages and live in the Gurukula. So the sage had a son and they both were friendly. So the prince, of course, is a prince and he lives in the palace. And this boy is living in the forest with the father. So once when he came to the palace and he saw this opulence, he got the desire that I wish I was also prince. I wish I were a prince. So because of that desire, he is born as a prince, but he is the son of a sage. So therefore he has to be again put into that situation of being sage, going to the forest, and that's why he was able to so quickly realize God and he was so firm. He will become the king also. So this past karma was also pushing him to go to the forest and perform austerity. So sometimes we don't know how the karma works. Kim karma kim karmati kavyapya prema. So this karma, what is akarma, it is very difficult to understand. Krishna says, karmanam gehano gati. That the workings of karma are difficult to understand. Although the simple law is action, reaction. But how the reaction will come, in which situation it will come, and how it will influence the person, that is very difficult to figure out. So we may see something as a calamity, but actually this may be a boon for that person. So it looks like a calamity, but actually, as we will see, this is the greatest boon in Dhruva's life. Otherwise he would have been just a prince. So what? So many princes have come and gone, but we remember the story of Dhruva. And we learn from this, not from the stories of many other princes we don't even know them. In fact, if we know Uttama now because of Dhruva, otherwise who would have known this Uttama? So because of Dhruva we come to know what Priyavata, Uttamapada means, Suruchi and Sumiti. So actions have their very interesting outcome. So therefore she is very forbearing and well composed in her mind. That's what Suniti means. That remaining balanced, composed and taking proper action. As it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanodhara, Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhute, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mana. So that's where the Niti lies, where Krishna is there and Arjuna is there. Means when devotee is there, and Lord is there, then there is a proper Niti there. And Dhruva Niti. There is also Kut Niti. Or what you call political polity. But this type of niti which brings you the permanent benefit, permanent result. So she is a devotee. Suruchi also looked like a devotee because she was also advising Dhruva to go and worship Vishnu. But she was speaking more in a clever sense. But not Suniti. Atishtatat vimatsarastvam muktam samatrapi yadavyalikam aradhya dhokshaja pada padmam yadichase adhyasanam uttamo yatha. So she again says that, my dear son, you give up jealousy towards your mother, Suruchi. Vimatsaratvam uktam samatrapi. And yad avyalikam, what she had said is not false. It is worship of the Lord. So you do what she has spoken. Samatrapi yad avyalikam uktam tat atishta. What she has said, you do that. Of course, she is not saying that you have to die and take birth, but what she is saying that really speaking, if you want to fulfill your desires, then you worship Lord Vishnu. So only He can fulfill your desires. Akamo sarva kamo moksha kamo dharana. Tivreda bhakti yogena yogeta prashanata. So even if one has material desires, one should worship only Krishna. There is no other worship required. It is better to worship without material desires, but even if one wants to fulfill material goals, material desires, then worship God, worship Krishna. So therefore she said that she is not wrong, and therefore don't be jealous or envious of her or have any malicious feelings towards her. Aradhya dhokshad padapani. So what is that, she said, and she is also repeating. It says, you worship the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Yadechase adhyasanam uttamam. If you want to sit on the seat as Uttama is sitting, then you worship his feet. So that means what is saying is that it is not within your karma to have this position. That means from your past karma, from your fate, you are not qualified to sit in this place and Uttama is sitting. But you can change your karma by worship of Krishna. So bhakti can change one's karma and bring a change, having that power. Otherwise, everyone is just in the flow of one's karma. So this is the clue to change. Yadi ichchase, if this is your desire, if you don't desire this, you can cool your mind and remain, it's fine. But if you are very intent that you have to sit on that seat, then it is not in your fate, as we have already seen, and I am also helpless. So this is what, when fate is very strong, then situation is like this, that one is forced to act. You don't find any solution to that situation. It happens. And means it was very powerful fate, past karma. So, but bhakti is beyond that. Matra samata taya vimatra api tvad vadam abhilasantyapi yaduktam tat atishta kuru. It says, although it is spoken by her, your other mother, and although she desires that you die, but do what she has said, the worship part. Avyalikam tadapriyam na bhavat. And this will not even be displeasing to her. Nahi hari bhajanam kasyapi apriyam. Because worship of Lord Krishna is not displeasing to anybody. Ato vimatsaraha tasya dvesham parityaja. Therefore be free from envy. Don't find fault in her or have any hatred towards her. Mama rodanam ajanma vidhatra lalate likhitam eva tavtu sukham bhavatu iti bhava. He says, as far as I am concerned, I have to cry for whole life. This is my fate. But you be happy. Therefore you worship the Lord. Yasyangri padmam paricharya vishwa vibhavanayat gunabhipatte ajodhyatishtat kaluparameshtyam padam jitatma swasanabhivandham. So she gives an example of this benefit of worshipping the Lord. And what is the outcome of worshipping? He says that Lord Brahma, who is your great-grandfather, because his father is Uttanpad and grandfather is Manu, and Manu's father is Brahma. So he says that Brahma, he has attained the highest position of maintaining the universe, looking after it, the management, by accepting the Satuguna through the worship of Lord Hari's feet. And he has attained this highest position of Brahma, because he is the topmost person in this world. And this position is even honorable by the sages who control their mind and life affairs. Jitatma swasam Amivandani. So this is a practical example that how by worship of the Lord one can attain a high post. And that's why Dhruva Maharaj, he desired that I want to be even higher than Brahma. If that is the case, that you can attain high position, then I will go even beyond him. Nanu kim हरिमाराध्य तस्या पापीयस्या गर्भम प्रवेक्ष्यामि इति तत्र सा वराकी खलुका. So now he is asking a question that by worshipping Lord Hari, then do I have to enter into the womb of that sinful lady? Because he is still angry. Of course, this is how the commentator is writing. So he says, what insignificant woman, I don't want to do that. Tasya kinkaras tvat pita eva varako deen buddhistvam brahma padad api utkrishtam padam praptum parishyasi tadita sigram braja harim bhaja mamishida. So then she is saying that no, you don't have to do that. Say that let your father remain in her service and remain this Dina Buddhi, like a fallen being. But you attain even a position higher than the position of Brahma, and that you do by the worship of Lord Hari. Therefore from here you go away and worship Hari and do not be in grief. So this he speaks in 4 slokas. Vishwasya vibhavanaya palanaya atta svikrita gunabhipatti sattu gunadhisthana yena tasya jitatma svanai vijitatma atmika mana prana yogi bhi abhivanya. So he said that Brahma Ajaru, who is unborn, he has attained the post called Parameshti, or the supreme position, by worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, who is in charge of Sattva-guna and who accepts the Sattva-guna for maintaining the universe. So by serving him, he has attained this post. That even the great sages, they are honoring this post of Brahma. So you worship him, and then your desire will be fulfilled. So I'll stop here. She will speak 3 more verses to again explain about the importance of devotion to Lord Krishna. And then he will leave house and go to forest.
Notion of changing our karma through bhakti. Are there degrees of this short of being a pure devotee and having all of our karma wiped away? Is there something before that? Just curious about this idea of changing karma.
Yeah, bhakti means you become free from the karma. But you have to have bhakti. Then you are out. Actually it is said that when you begin bhakti, then only you are outside the field of karma. It is already changed. But changing karma has 2 meanings. Usually we think it in the gross manner that changing karma means now you have no more karma. But if you have no more karma, then how do you live? The body is still functioning. You are getting favorable and unfavorable situations. So then it is seen that now whatever is happening to you, it is happening by the will of the Lord. You don't see this as karma anymore. It is He who is arranging my life now so that I advance in the path of devotion. Then that is one way. Another way of looking at it is that when you become devotee, then your goal is not as it was before to enjoy in the material world. So now you don't work with that intention that I want to enjoy my senses. Now you work with the goal that I want to serve God. And therefore all these favorable and unfavorable situations which will still come, as they would have come. But now you don't get deterred by them. You remain fixed on your goal, and therefore you are free from karma because they don't change you anymore. Otherwise, when there is a happy situation, then we are elated, and when there is an unhappy situation, then we are in grief. So now we go beyond both this elation and grief, and that is one way of seeing that we are free from the karma. So you have to see more in a practical sense, otherwise most people think free from karma means like the slate is clean now. So it's not in that sense.
And then what happens if one attains bhakti? And what happens to the karma at that point? Is there then a different degree of change?
What happens is that, as I said, that you can now see that whatever has to happen before, the same thing happens, but now it is coming from Krishna. This is how a devotee sees. Because the problem is like this, that we are born in this material world and we are born with certain prarabdha karma. The karma which has begun to give result. Means things are already arranged for me that I will go here, I will go there, I will study like this, I will meet this type of people. Because it's a very complicated thing. Our karma is not just my karma is involved with many people. So those people are also born now. So now if my karma is completely wiped out, then this karma of so many people have to be changed. And they may not be devotees. So now either God has to adjust the karma of so many people, maybe hundreds of people. Or another way of saying it, that whatever has to happen, it happens, but now you are not under the control of Yamaraj or under the law of karma, but you are under the control of Krishna, and you take it like that. Since it doesn't influence you anymore, you are fixed in your devotion. So you may meet still same people whom you would have met before, and the same type of people may still create similar situation for you which they would have created anyway. But now you don't bother about it. Previously you would have retaliated and got into more karma. Now you have gotten out of that cycle of karma, as that's what she is saying, that you don't take it personally what she is doing, you just take it karma. So devotees also, although they are free from karma, but they think like this, that anyway it's happening because, especially something when unfavorable is coming, it's because of my karma. So devotee goes out of the jurisdiction of karma, which is controlled by Yamaraj, means he is the one who gives the result. Now he comes under the direct jurisdiction of Krishna, and for him the law is now devotion and offense, basically. So what he can do, what is bad for him as bad for common person is sin and piety, for him it is devotion and offense. He works on the principle of this. He performs devotional service and he has to avoid offense. And a common person has to avoid sinful activity and engage in pious deeds. So that is within the range of karma. And this is the field of bhakti. But they look similar. Because devotee has to still live in the world and adjustment has to be made in the same system. He is not transported into the spiritual world yet. He is still living within the material world. So this adjustment is made like this.
Suniti and Suruchi, is there a distinction between Shreyas and Preyas with those two concepts?
Yes. So Suruchi is the Preyas and Suniti is the Shreyas.
They're identical?
Yes. Shreyas means ultimate benefit. Preyas means immediate benefit.
So it seems that so Niti looks like quite humble and wise, and she's also accepting whatever is coming. You know, he can. But she was saying, okay, as far as I'm concerned, I will cry all my life, and then but now you go and become greater than him. Basically, this is what she was saying.
Yes.
The other lady looks like more very cruel and attached, proud, without heart and without knowledge.
Knowledge she also had, but she was proud. In the material world, that's how people are. If they have wealth, they are proud. So in the material world, the material position increases the pride.
So if a devotee worships the Lord without offense, but he still has some material desires, can he attain liberation?
If he is wanting material desires, then his material desires are satisfied. If he wants, but if he has material desire, then material desires will be satisfied. And what is your desire?
Yeah, he can go to Vaikuntha, even if he has some desires, but he worships the Lord without offense, or ideally worship him.
So I'm saying that first he has to get rid of his material desires. So he has to go through that experience and then give them up. And through also, he has this desire, but later on he will say that I don't want this. Then only he goes to Vaikuntha.
So they may go first to different planets.
Yeah, that is your desire. God can also fulfill that. Say that Yadikaracha Ichchate. So he will give Sarvastis, Sarupya, Samupya, Kevalyamapi. I can give. My devotee wants. Why would a devotee want that? Okay.